Good evening, everyone. How are we doing? Let's see, we got a few people already coming in. Carolyn, good to see you again. Angela, Vanessa, Maria, welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to give some people time to file in here a little bit. Hope everyone has had a good week and a good weekend. I know I've had a very, very busy and tiring weekend, but that's okay. It is good. It is good. Uh, Arter, welcome. Greg to the West, welcome. So, we should probably cover a few things, shouldn't we? Okay. Um, Chats have been getting busy, so if for some reason your question isn't getting seen or you just want to support the channel, there is the little super chat button down there where you hit it and you can donate a few dollars here or there or whatever. I'm not sure the exact amounts it lets. But that will flash it up really big on the screen that you did so, which everybody gets a mugs up. And of course, if your question's in there, I'll make sure to get to it as long as it's YouTube appropriate. Because even super chats don't let me answer stuff that YouTube will flag us for. You know how that goes. But can't complain. YouTube's been good to us and the channel and helping me get information out to everyone. Also, if you haven't and you're interested in crystals and crystal magic, remember we do have a workshop this month. Signups are open and seats are limited. So go to workingdragonmystic.com and sign up for the workshop. Okay. Jade is going to be teaching it. And Jade's here now. Hello, Jade. Good to see you. It is going to be a fantastic workshop. So definitely sign up for that because seats are limited. Okay. Okay. Jade beat me to it. We do have a gilded community. If you are interested in joining that, it's a free community. You just click the little gilded link there, put in your application, read the rules, and hang out, chat with us, goof off. Myself, Jade, Halloween, and Born Oldest are all in there, quite often helping you all out. Okay, yeah, I think that's the general basis of the announcements. Oh, wait, no, I'm supposed to tell about those membership things. Yeah, the channel does have memberships now where you can subscribe and support the channel with a small monthly support. We are trying to get the support up to the point where we can take the channel ads free. That is our goal. So if we can do that, that is awesome. So otherwise, if you don't want to, another great way to support the channel is give us the thumbs up. We got 17 people in here and only 6 thumbs up. So if you're here and you haven't yet, hit that like button, give us a thumbs up. Okay, now that that's over. So, if you all follow the channel, you may have noticed this week you got a little extra stuff. We've been tinkering with shorts. I still don't fully know what we're going to do with them other than random thoughts and maybe posting some random things when I'm out and about. We'll see. But outside of a short, y'all might have noticed we had a video on Friday. I am hoping to start doing some more content. I was asked this a few times in email section. You guys can ask questions in the comment section about stuff like this, so don't feel shy to do that. I never mind that. I have a massive backlog of topics, and I'm realizing that if I can manage the time to record 2 videos and get it uploaded, it'd be a great way to work in some extra topics and get y'all a bit more content throughout the week. So I cannot promise a video every Friday, but I am going to try and start posting a Friday video. And for those who asked, yes, the Havamal Roundtable, we're not stopping at 18. We are actually going to work our way through the entire Havamal, through the roundtable discussions. So if you all have any input on how that went, we'd always welcome it. Do remember, it is kind of a laid-back discussion where we can talk about the text. And for the people who asked me if I would just sit down and do a reading of the Havamal, I probably won't. Just a straight reading. Because I want to support Dr. Jackson Crawford, whose version of the Havamal I absolutely adore. And he has an audiobook where he already does that. And he also has a Kindle version of the book and a physical book. So I would actually encourage you to take the link that is usually below my videos for the Havamal and pick up his copy of the Poetic Edis. It has the Havamal in there. So yeah. And I get really nervous reading, if y'all didn't notice. So yeah. Though in the other roundtables, Halloween and Jade should be reading, not just me. So you won't have to just enjoy the southern dronings of me. Though they're not southern, they'll be reading too. So hopefully that covers that, because that was a lot of fun. That was really a lot of fun for me. This is something I think you all know, but I love perspective. I love multiple perspective. And the fact that neither Jade nor Halloween has actually dove into the Havamal or read it. And there's some age gap there. Especially between me and Squirrel, but aka Halloween. I think it's great to get those insights. So yeah, and it's a book of wisdom. Nothing's, it's not like it's hard written in stone. We're given opinions and thoughts and stuff like that. It's kind of a great way to get you started thinking about these topics. So hopefully you all enjoyed the roundtable video. We do have more of them coming. So let's see what we got in here. How does a trance state feel, and what is the most effective methods for entering? Dragon of the West, the trance state technically is going to feel described by different people in different ways. And as to the most effective method of getting into it, that differs from person to person. Generally speaking, the trance state is, and this is very general, you enter into a deep meditation where you essentially you're totally conscious, you're not asleep in any way. But at the same time, the outside world just kind of zones out, and your entire focus is on you and what you're doing. If you fall asleep, you fall in a trance. Trance and sleep cannot exist in the same place. So there's that. And as to what it feels like, for me, it's like my senses are heightened by turn the dial to 100. Everything just becomes that much more clear. My arcane senses your arcane senses will automatically start kicking in when you're in trance. At first, it can be a little spooky. A lot of people do report, kind of a sudden dropping feeling in trance. That's true, but it does feel different to different people. And how deep into trance you go also changes how it feels. Because you can actually get into trance and everything still be really, really fuzzy. So that's not an easy one. And as far as most effective, some people find music to be most effective. Some people find drumming to be most effective. Some people find silence. Some people find candlelit. Some people find incense to help them get into trance. There's so many varieties. If I was to calculate them all, it does seem that there's something about a steady rhythmic beat that does help one reach a trance state. This is usually why drumming is used, but it needs to be kind of a steady, repetitive, rhythmic drumming. Tends to help the most people. But it will still take a meditation skill as well as practice to do it. It's not like you can just flip a switch or, draw a sigil. Whoop, you're in trance. So there's that. All right, let's see what we got. We should do a 24-hour live stream. Angela, we should do a 24-hour live stream, 24 hours of Drake and shenanigans. Okay, if I did a 24-hour live stream, we would have to be doing donations or something on that one, because that would be a lot of fun. And I'm going to have Squirrel here with me, or the wife participating at least in coffee runs, because we got to keep me hydrated, drinking water and something, because I don't tend to shut up, and I will have cotton mouth and a sore throat if I do not have lubrication. So we might be able to do something like that, Angela. Maybe kind of a New Year's stream. I have been kicking around the idea, maybe not a full 24-hour stream, but I have contemplated doing a New Year's Eve stream where we all get together here and ring in the New Year together. Since we have so many people across different time zones, we might have to do Happy New Year's 3 times, at least for East, Central, and West Coast times here in the U.S. Because I know everyone in the world don't celebrate New Year's at the same time, but hey, that could be a lot of fun. So a long special stream event might be something to look forward to in the future. I'll kick that around with the admin and see if I have any backup support. Otherwise, we will have to have intermission where I can go make my beverages. Let's see. That might be too much. One of the old tarot reading channels I watched that is gone now. Had a 24-hour live stream once. It was so much fun. 24-hour streams can be a lot of fun. Okay, I'm not going to lie. I've done events and stuff where where they were 24 hours and stuff. So I totally get it. I really do. I don't think I've ever done a 24-hour stream or attended one personally, unless you count BlizzCon. I did purchase a virtual ticket to BlizzCon years ago before the company went to crap. So there was that, and we stayed up and watched all the panels we could. So there was that. That might be the closest I get. So I understand how they're fun though. Let's see what we get here. Hey, About Star, good to see you. Good to see you. Let's see. Ruben C. Hi, Dragon Mystic. You can call me Drake. What are your thoughts on extraterrestrials, and have you ever had experience with them? Okay, yeah, I actually get this question a few times on here, but I never mind answering it. So, scientifically speaking, and let's be fair, this channel, I stick more to science than faith or anything like that. Scientifically speaking, when we look how big our universe is, and we look at how many planets that we've observed that at least could support some form of life, that means that the odds of us being the only life forms out there, or the only planet supporting life, is extremely small. That said, do I think extraterrestrials are visiting this planet or controlling us by underground lizard people or any of that? No, I don't. I've actually seen absolutely no evidence of that whatsoever in any shape, form, or fashion. In fact, if an intelligent life form that can do intergalactic travel is flying by Earth or the Milky Way, I actually would think they'd roll their windows up and speed up past, because let's be honest, Earth is not the place you want to get stuck. Now, could they have visited? Could they view us the way we view a freak show? Maybe. I could see that. I can't count the number of friends that I know that enjoy watching the show Jackass. I've never really enjoyed it. So in that case, they could. Do I buy into the ancient alien theory? Not really. There's a lot of things I've just not seen the evidence, and I need evidence. And conspiracies and those, some of the theories are interesting and intriguing, but I need evidence. So there's that. As to interacting with them, extraterrestrial means anything not of Earth. So technically, every spiritual entity I've ever interacted with that doesn't belong to the physical Earth realm would technically be an extraterrestrial. As to have I ever interacted with Greys or any of the classifications of actual extraterrestrials, nope. And I've not actually seen anything to make me specifically believe in them. I just think statistically there's life out there. That doesn't say I don't research them. I do research them. Though the last time I worked with a group, oh dear God, that was a level of tinfoil crazy. I couldn't deal with it. I actually had to take several years off after it got bad. It got bad. What can stop? Honestly and truly, there's a lot of different things that can stop visions during meditations. In fact, I actually had one teacher that said visions are an uncontrolled meditation. And ultimately, the practitioner should seek a more controlled meditation, more focused, instead of just randomness. So, in that respect, one could actually view it as growth. But there is that point where you kind of get to the point where you do need to start focusing more and controlling it more and taking charge of it more, as opposed to just letting random stuff wander by. And if you hit that point and you're not taking control and you're not driving the ship, as it were, then you're not going to see anything. And since you're not doing anything and you're not seeing anything, you're just kind of sitting there adrift. Those are usually the big ones. Do I know any good books on demonology? Not that I can quote right off the bat. And part of that's because I am pretty picky about certain books and topics. And as far as a good book needs to be a book that if I hand you the book and tell you to read it, I don't have to give you 50 different critiques to keep in mind. And that's kind of the problem right now. Most of the books I have to give critiques. So when it comes to studying demonology as a whole, you need to keep an open mind and you need to read the literature, and you need to also attempt to understand the point of view of the author. Because if you look at demonolatry, not demonology, or demonolatry, not demonology, it comes from a more religious standpoint, so their view is going to be different than most of your other demonology books that were written in the Renaissance eras. And then you have people who practice modern demonology, and they study more from a perspective where they don't have any religious influence, and they just approach the entities from there. So those authors aren't going to bring in religious influences. However, you also have a lot of non-religious anarchists who study, and they take a very free-formed, liberal, anything goes, which makes the text quasi-unreliable at times. And because of that, I've not found that one book that I can recommend, and that kind of ticks me off. But that could just be my own preferences getting in my own way. Oh, crap. Red Cat, thank you for the donation, mate. Mugs up to you. And Alex, 222. Mugs up. Thank you for the super chat. Let's see what we got here. Word on Fae Path working magic. How it compared to other magic systems? Can they heal other skills? Is it true they are close to the physical plane? Okay, so if you're asking about the Fae Path working, I'm currently working on and trying to get up on the online school. That is being delayed by the Queens, but they still got me working on that. How working with the Fae itself compares to other magic. Working with the Fae is ordered chaos. Okay, it is lawful chaos. That's the best way to put it. It's not even ordered. It is lawful chaos, because the Fae follow Fae law above all else. Nothing matters more to a Fae than Fae law. Period. So as chaotic as their nature is, they are also extremely lawful due to they follow Fae law. This can make it very, very, very tricky to work with them. Can they heal? Yeah. Hell, they can do anything you need them to do, technically, if you're willing to go far enough down the rabbit hole. They can be tricky to work with. They do not, you have to always be kind of in a legal frame of mind and be on your way, not for double speak, not even triple speak. You got to look for like octavital speak. I mean, they're going to be talking 8 ways around you half the time. And the more powerful the Fae, the more complicated their frame of mind gets. So that's another issue there. But can it be useful? It's very useful. I've actually enjoyed working with the Fae when I work with them. True, I didn't originally set out to work with them. I kind of encountered them through the dragons. But that is one of those little perks. And I did enjoy it. is it true they are close to the physical plane? Depends on what you mean by that. Technically, the Fey realm is not part of the physical realm. It is a separate realm. Is it a realm that is close to the physical plane? Technically. Technically, it's close to the physical plane, and so is the astral plane, so is the ethereal plane, so is the elemental planes. So close is relative when we're talking about that. They are not the cutesy wootsy little nature spirits that a lot of people paint them as. They are not. They do like the forest, they do like the wilds, but they also love the cities. You will find Fae in any environment on Earth. It's not that they necessarily make their home here or their homes are dependent upon us. Truth be told, this entire planet could go nuclear and cease to exist. The Fae realm will not care. Basically, think of our planet to them as kind of like your favorite park you visit or maybe your favorite vacation spot. They come, they hang out, they leave. That's pretty much it. And they really do not have an attachment to it, which a lot of people don't like to hear, but it's true. They like to think they're the guardians of nature. Not really. They don't care too much. They don't like to see us needlessly doing stupid stuff. Like I can think of a group of people on the West Coast who claim this property had been clear cut. Well, that sucks. Okay, I know the property they were talking about is a gorgeous piece of property. But when I went out to look at it, because they was having an event out there, it hadn't been clear cut at all. Not one tree had been cut down. Not one. A tree had died of bugs infestation and fungus. The rest of everything that they were claiming was clear cut was overgrowth and foliage that had been pulled out of the woods to prevent a forest fire. That's all that had been done. We're talking underbrush and weeds and stuff pulled out, and they were calling that clear cutting, which amazes me how many supposed nature pagans have no concept of nature. But that's a topic for a different time. So the group attempting to essentially restore the undergrowth kind of did upset the Fae, because being a steward of a land kind of means taking care of it, which is removing that undergrowth. Hope that helps a little. Got my whistle there. Do you think chronic illness that don't show up medically, despite being very real, could have a magical or spiritual cause? I'll be truthful with you, Redcap. At this point in time, I have not seen any reason to actually believe that there is a magical cause for most of these illnesses. And in fact, there are a lot of chronic illnesses that we are working on ways to test them. We don't currently, some we don't, but just because it isn't currently measurable doesn't mean it's magical or spiritual. Now, that said, we discussed this somewhat before where we talked about placebo effects. Those are very measurable. So it's a dangerous road to go down where we start blaming chronic illness on magic or spiritual. And when it comes to that, I'm avidly against it, due to like the 9 spiritual or religious healer assholes who almost killed me. So yeah, I've seen nothing to support it, and I've seen a lot to go against it. Now, I keep an open mind. I always continue to do research, both spiritual and medical. But personally, for me, at this point in time, I have not. So, yeah. And that's the thing. Y'all know, with all due respect, I go with the data. I don't go with faith. I'm a faithless redneck, which is actually kind of hard to find. Let's see. Welcome, Gabriel. Welcome. Glad you can make it to the channel. Uh, the question is, because I don't know what is the Fae. How you describe the Fae, winter or autumn courts of Fae? Does one gain favor or relation with them? That would be a massive entire topic. Technically, okay, you do see a quartered separation in some mythologies dealing with the Fae. So you'll see like spring, summer, autumn, winter courts. But what you have to understand is that you have the two major courts, which is summer and winter, and then there is the sub courts that actually fall under the rule of those two queens. So spring and autumn would be part of the summer and winter court. Uh, let's see, Alex 222. Thanks. No problem, Alex. I do my best. Some topics are so complex they're really hard to hit on here, but I do my best. And you all tend to like my ranting, so I guess that works out. Let's see, Angela, have you ever met the Fae that have horns? I remember reading stories as a kid about Fae with horns, known as Puka, who people tease and hate. And Puka turned into a giant horse that was. Puka specifically, I'm not 100% sure. I've met a lot of Fae with horns. A lot. There's a joke to be made there, but I better not. YouTube will flag me. But y'all can probably figure it out if you're as bad as me. So I have met a lot of Fae with horns, all different style horns. Ram horns, bull horns, deer horns, antlers, all kinds. So, yeah. As far as horse style Fae, I have encountered several giant horse style Fae. So, yeah. Let's see. Brain fog happens to us all, mate. Even me. No. You shouldn't make fun of any entity, really. That'll get you in trouble. Can't really blame it. I mean, any entity out there that you're willing to make fun of, here's my rule in life, okay? And my friends can attest to this. I will joke around with my friends. I will pick on my friends. In fact, I was laughing at one of them because he got arrested this weekend. Anytime I pick on a friend, I expect to get smacked, hit, or picked on back. Because if I can dish it out, I should be able to take it, period. Now, here's the thing. If you're going to say something, if you're going to be a smart aleck, or you're going to make fun of somebody and crack a joke, you do not know at what level they joke at. You do not know how they respond or react. And they are two different things, by the way, responding and reacting. So if you are not prepared to take whatever they decide comes back at you, don't do it. Don't do it. And when we're talking about entities like the Fae, they don't play fair. Playing fair is not in their wheelhouse. They go big or go home. So yeah, if you make fun of the Fae and pick on the Fae, even if it's unintentionally, you're going to catch hands. That's the best way to put it. So yeah, they shouldn't have done that. Bionic Sidekick, welcome. Well, I mentioned it before, Scarlet Witch. Essentially, they quote unquote healed me and had me to stop taking medications that are vitally important. I'm epileptic. Needless to say, grand mal seizures ensued, as did injuries of many kinds, because if you know anything about grand mal seizures, you essentially black out, start twitching like a dying cockroach, or somebody's electrocuting you, all your muscles tense up and just start convulsing, and you fall. You lose control of your motor functions. So if you're going downstairs, you're falling down the stairs. If you're walking, you're falling wherever you're walking. If you're driving, God help you if you're driving. Luckily, I was not driving. But it did cost me my driver's license for a really long time because guess what? And I don't blame them. I wouldn't want me behind a car either because I didn't count as controlled at that time. And the amount of spiritual healers, Reiki healers, faith healers that are into this category um, who the 9 that I trusted, I actually partially blame me because after the first 2, I should have just tossed it all out and not trusted them. Truth be told, my epilepsy is not one of the parts about me that I'm the happiest about, and I was wanting to be rid of it. So, in blind stupidity, aka also known as faith, I continued. However, other than those 9, I have pursued other healing methods and talked with other healers and blah, blah, blah. Just didn't stop taking my medicine blindly. And I trusted science after the spiritual healers. None have been able to do what they claim to do. None. Not zero, zilch. I'd have to check my journal, but I know I'm in the triple digits of people who have supposedly healed me from my epilepsy. And I can go get an EEG and test that very quick and easy. I really can. So, due to that personal experience, yeah, I'm not a big fan. Not a big fan at all. I even got my Reiki masters to study and dive into energy healing at a much higher, deeper level. But I refuse to teach Reiki. I refuse. Um, because at this point in time, there's too many spiritual scam artist healers out there. Not to say there's no good ones. Let me state that clearly. There are good ones that will state that spiritual healing can help, but should never replace modern science. Those I have respect for. But the others, outside just my personal experience, I have actually had to I've had to give eulogies for people who went to spiritual healers. That's a nice way of putting it. So when it comes to faith and spiritual healing, I'm not really the person to get hopeful advice from. I would give precautionary advice and tell you to supplement whatever it is you're doing in the physical through medical science with it. Never rely entirely on it. So um, that's just that's that's my little rant. Which arcane sense did you have the most trouble with when you first started out? See, it's weird because the 2 I so hyper focused on was hearing and seeing, and for me, it was sight was harder, and I have a few theories on why, and it's because I'm always been so hyper aware of everything around me that sitting down, closing my eyes, and those kinds of things really do get to be an issue. And then, if you're in a bright room and you close your eyes, you kind of got that lighted kind of stroby dot sensation behind your lids. That always makes me uncomfortable because I'm epileptic. So anything that, even if it's not flashing, if it looks like a strobe light, I get really uncomfortable. So that was a really hard one for me to get through. Um, Hearing worked. I did pretty good with hearing. My mentor joked that it's because growing up in the family I did, as loud as everybody was, and the environment and how we communicated, I had very good selective hearing, which I kind of see because my family's communication is we'll put 80 of us into a small room and we'll talk to each other from across the room. So the conversation is just whoever has the loudest volume. It's a nightmare. But you can also see why I'm kind of a loud individual too. Uh, so there's that. Beyond the other ones, the taste and those, I don't really know when they came in. I really don't. Working with my co-magician and my guardian dragon in the sanctum and when doing astral travel, they would have me doing things like tasting foods and whatnots. And they just kind of came naturally through interacting. I don't really remember purposely training them, if that makes any sense at all. There's something to work with you explain. Record, essential. Essentially, they're creating a servitor with that. It's not a spirit familiar; it's a servitor. Though a servitor could function quasi like a familiar spirit, because I mean, if you look at check out my servitor video for beginners, you have a sigil. The vessel would essentially end up being the page or whatever you're putting the down on. For me, I usually put it on paper. I don't worry about any of that because you don't need a specific vessel of any kind for it. And the cord, some people do use cords and vessels for servitors, cord magic to hold energy and the likes of that. But you just need a piece of paper and a sigil to write it down. Yeah, if you go check out the type in servitor in the channel videos, it'll pop up. I can't remember the exact title of the video. I've done way too many videos, which I guess is a good thing. But yeah. Because a familiar spirit's completely different. You don't create it. That's pretty much that simple. I know people like to use the word familiar spirit, but it's usually a thought form or a servitor or an egregore. But what you're describing here, with just the snippet you gave me, sounds more servitor. Which servitor magic is a lot of fun. In fact, I'm actually getting ready to start an entire new servitor experiment. So yeah. House deities. Let's see. Sounds like my husband's family. It must be a southern thing. It might be, Warden. It might be. We Southerners, we like to have a good time. We like to have a lot of people, and we don't always have room in the house. That's usually why we go outside and do stuff. But during the holidays and whatnot, we cram as many guests into a house as we can because we love to socialize. We love to share. We love to just hospitality. So we love to share what we got with others. It's just what we do. So you learn to talk over because with as many people as we Southerners will cram into a house, even at a whisper, it gets loud if everyone's whispering. You know what I mean? If you ever think about it, one cricket is not loud. One cricket is not loud. It can be annoying if you can't find it in the house, but it's not loud. But you get 100 of them little buggers, it gets loud, don't it? Kind of the same thing. The problem is we don't whisper either. So, yeah. But then again, I can remember growing up, my dad and my grandfather and his brothers did a lot of music and bluegrass. So I was also having to talk over guitars and banjos. And if you've ever had to try and talk over a banjo, that is one of the loudest freaking instruments I've ever heard. My God. It's amazing. I don't know how I survived growing up. I really don't. Actually, I lie. I'm thankful for the youth I had. I can't say it was necessarily always the best of events, but I learned a lot. Let's see. Let's see. We'll definitely look at chat. By all means, do. Sidekick, by all means, do. Can a human become something else? Okay, so technically, as long as you have a physical body, you're a physical human. Sorry. Sucks to be us, but that is the case. Now, when we ascend, you become a spiritual being, and by and large, you would become a spiritual being based on you. You wouldn't necessarily become anything in and of itself. Now, that said, from my understanding of talking with a few entities, like let's say you decide you wish to inhabit the Fey wilds of the Fey realms, and you wish to spend your eternity there. Slowly through time, you are going to be bound by Fey law, and you are slowly going to take on the energies of the Fey wilds, and you would essentially drift over to Fey. But if you are Fey, you are bound by Fey law. Literally, there is no way around it. So there is that concept. You could essentially take up residence in, say, the plane of water, plane of fire, where your energetic and spiritual essence would shift toward those planes as well. So in some cases it is, but then there are some entities that humans just will never shift over to. They can't become like dragons. Humans cannot become dragons. Um, as to could you become a god? Well, that depends on what your definition of a god is, because technically any spiritual entity with knowledge and power that we look up to is labeled a god. The gods themselves don't view themselves as gods. Um, so yeah, that would depend on your point of view on what you call a god. Um, so hope that answers a little bit there, Dragon and West. Let's get some thumbs up here, people. We got 16 thumbs up. We got 25 people in here. Let's get some thumbs here. Hit that like button if you haven't and you're already in here hanging out. I felt a strong connection with dragons a while, but I have no idea how to connect with them. Do dragons sometimes inhabit a human vessel? No. Unfortunately, there's people who will say dragons inhabit human vessels. However, even the smallest, and I do mean the absolute smallest portion of a dragon's energy would incinerate a human body. So the only way a dragon could inhabit a human vessel would be to achieve the worst, most horrible punishment a dragon could, which is a fate worse than death. And that's to literally be stripped of all draconic heritage, history, and everything. They would cease to exist, even in the past, as what they once were, to be fully born as a human soul. In which case, they're no longer a dragon at all, so it's kind of pointless, but that is a fate worse than death to a dragon. So, no, dragons cannot inhabit a human vessel. Now, with that said, when I say a human vessel, I mean a human meat suit. That's what I call a human vessel. Can a dragon essentially shapeshift while you're in your astral sanctum or on the astral plane to take on a human shape? Yes, but that is not a human vessel, that is a shape. You have to distinguish the two. Hope that helps a little bit. As to how to connect with dragons, check out our Dragon Magic playlist. It's a great place to get started here, Wesley. Also, if you go to workingdragonmystic.com, there's an online courses tab. We do have an online school with full video courses, and Dragon Magic 101 is an excellent deep dive way for even a beginner to start working with dragons. It has a full laid out path working in there for meeting your guardian. It's got meditations, it's got rituals for meeting your co-magician, as well as beginning your work with the elemental rulers. And it is very, very affordable. The entire course is probably 6 to 8 months worth of actual material to work through, and it's priced at $30, which is the cost of most metaphysical books these days. So that would be an option too. But we also have a good chunk to get you started over there on the Dragon Magic playlist here on the channel. Wildfire can do a fertility spell for someone be dangerous for them or have any adverse effects. See, this gets a little wonky, because technically the fertility spell is going to make conception easier. However, there's other factors that go into this that you really, 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 really need to consider. First off, is the person actually healthy enough to carry? That's one thing. Because your spell could make it easier for them to conceive. They conceive, and the carrying of it, which has nothing to do with the spell, could be harmful. I've actually seen this quite often. There are many cases where something like that can happen. So you need to look at the medical side of their ability to carry, as well as their ability to conceive those things. There are actual other health issues there. So that could definitely kick up. But, it in and of itself, if the person has done all the medical legwork and they have been told they are healthy and capable to carry and all that, the answer would be no. If. But I'll be honest with you, if the person has not gone through and got all that paperwork done, I wouldn't do the spell. I wouldn't. Period. Tell Jade I'm sorry I didn't sign up for the crystal course. I didn't mean to ignore her. That's all. I'm overwhelmed. That's all. Alistair, you still have time to sign up for it if you want to. And being overwhelmed, that is something both myself and Jade understand. Oh, lordy, do we understand. Currently, I am essentially juggling the work of 3 jobs. Actually, I take that back. As of last week, I'm juggling the work of 4 jobs. Um, so I get that. Which actually brings me to an announcement I got here in a few minutes. I got to let y'all know about. But yeah, that is totally understandable. Everybody gets overwhelmed. We all do. Would it cause themselves to, again, they can't, they wouldn't be able to shift over to the plane in a human shape. Even in a human shape, they still maintain their full power. So a dragon would, if one of the rulers, let's take a ruler for example. Well, let's not even go with a ruler. Let's take a co-magician. If a co-magician was to take a human shape and shift over, they would level any city on the planet. Their aura itself would level the planet, the city. So they can't do it. No. Dragons will not allow it. Plain and simple. Dragons take that very seriously. They will not even allow the gods like Odin or Zeus or any of them to become a dragon. Dragons are very protective of their realm. They will share their teachings. They will share their ways, but they are very protective, and for good reason. Let's see about this. Sophia, how can I energetically cut ties with someone? Well, the easiest way to do this is what's called a cord cutting, in which case you would essentially meditate. I would like to use something like obsidian or crystal quartz to represent the cutter. And you will meditate and you will focus on any cords attached to you. That's what you're looking for. You just want to visualize if any cords are attached, and or if it's a specific person, any cords you and that person share. At this point, your visualization will show you those cords. Don't doubt whether what you're seeing is real or not. Just start cutting those little buggers, okay? Just cut them, okay? If they're real, you're cutting them. If they're in your mind, you're cutting your subconscious tie to the person. Either way, it still works. Congratulations. Here's the kicker. If you cut a cord, it takes somewhere between 3 to 4 months for that energetic cord to fully heal. This is what a lot of people don't tell you, which means if you walk in and you spend time around this person and you let them back in your energetic bubble, your cord just reconnected. You literally also have to remove the person from your life. If it's somebody you work with, you need to make sure you are fully shielded and protected from them energetically, and do not shake their hand for at least 4 months. You need to give as much space as possible. So I would definitely create some kind of a shield, work on your grounding and shielding practices as well. Because the moment you shake their hand, the moment you do anything like that, you will reconnect that cord if you have not had that separation and time to heal. And in the case of deeper emotional stuff, it can even take longer. It really can't. There's people in my life I have done cord cuttings for. I still won't go near them because I want nothing to do with them and I ain't willing to risk it. But those people are, I let them in very close and they ended up to be trash people. What can I say? Let's see, I love your video on Freya. You described a female who can balance both firm and gentle approach. I adore Freya. Oh my God, I just called Freya Freya. Okay. I adore Freya. She is one of my favorite goddesses to work with. And yes, she does have that gentleness and that warrior about her. I absolutely adore her. So thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed the video. ceasing in the present. Yeah, they literally erase you from the past. Every memory, every existence, everything you ever done will be erased. There'll be nothing. Not zero, zilch. You are erased from existence. Is it true you can't astral project to certain places, for example, like Area 51 or other controversial places? Okay. Maria, I'm going to answer this. But before I answer this, let me stipulate the ability to not astral project to someplace isn't that big of a deal. Okay. So, for example, you can't astral project to my house. I don't have the funding of the government. So, there are many places you cannot astral project. And there are magicians and practitioners serving in the Marines, the Army, the Coast Guard, the Navy currently. Not as top generals or admirals or anything. We're talking petty officers. We're talking privates. We're talking seamen. We're talking straight out of boot camp magicians. And they've been studying the arcane long enough that they can actually prevent astral projection. So, for example, on an aircraft carrier, your bunk is essentially like a little. Imagine a coffin with a curtain. Instead of a wall, it's got a curtain. That's your rack. That's where you live. These magicians will actually fix it so that either their rack is prevented from astral projection and or the entire I can't think of the name of it. Crew quarters. I can't think of the name of it at this moment. So in those cases, you're not going to be able to astral project. You could astral project to another section of the flight deck, but you wouldn't be able to wander into there because a magician is smart enough to do that. So it's not as big of a deal as people make it sound, because we want to throw out the word like Area 51 conspiracy. There's plenty of places on the planet by normal people that will stop you from astral projecting into a place. It's actually pretty easy to stop. That said, because we do have magicians who work within these areas, they also apply their craft to their military oath. Which, if you think about it, if you're a mage and you take an oath when you sign up and enlist, you're essentially using all your skill sets to uphold your oath. So it only makes sense that you would apply your craft to that oath as well. So there's that. So that immediately limits government conspiracy. And that said, if I was Uncle Sam, I would hire a magician or two to help me out with some of that stuff. I would. And Uncle Sam, if you're watching, which everybody says you're always watching, I'll take a job. Yeah, just call me up. Great. My wife's already enlisted. You can find me. I'll take a job. But yeah, it's not that big of a deal. People want to make it sound more conspiracy and ooga booga, but it's not. It's pretty standard. In fact, I actually get emails from viewers who are royally pissed they can't astral project in my house. And it's like, thank you for supporting my channel, but my private space is my private space. You are not entitled to my private space. So that's always interesting. Joys of being public, what can I say? Bionic, who's the rudest spirit you've ever... the rudest spirit I've ever worked with was not invoked. Invoked, you actually pull them into yourself. I do not invoke willy-nilly. I'm very picky about what I invoke. Now, as far as evoking and or worked with, raw. Hands down, raw. I still don't like that SOB. We will work together when I have a client that I need to work with. But otherwise, him and I don't have much to do with each other. We don't like each other. We don't get along. And I've told him where he could take a sugar-coated F and where he could stick his own head. So, yeah, me and him don't get along. Raw is clear, hands down, raw. There are people who get along with it. Not me. Not me. And that's another thing. When we talk about these entities, let's be very candid. These entities have personalities. So just like I don't get along with every person on the planet, anyone who's watched this channel long enough knows I'm allergic to stupid people. I wish I could get along with everyone. I really, really do. And I know that I have pet peeves that just like, I don't want to be around you. But I know it's me. I don't technically blame the person. There are some cases. Because, if you're eating Tide Pods, I don't want to be around you, but that's still also, you're doing the thing that, But don't eat Tide Pods, people. No, that's stupid. No. So you do have to take in personality. There's people who absolutely can't stand Loki or Odin. I know one girl absolutely despises Aphrodite. Personality matters. We don't get along with everyone on Earth. We're not going to get along with everyone in the planes. So always take that into consideration. I can give you my opinion, my interactions with an entity, and their personality. Because I know a lot of people who think Odin's a right dick. And to be truthful, he can be. But I adore him because him and I have a lot of the same personality traits. We both love knowledge and wisdom, and we're willing to risk our hind ends for it. There's certain areas where he goes further than I will. Like, I tend to endanger me, not other people. Odin doesn't really worry about endangering other people so much. But him and I do get along. I hope that helps. So take those personality traits into consideration. Okay? Which it goes back into why I tell you to read the myths, read the lore, and do some research on an entity before you just randomly contact them. But at the same time, while we're reading the myths, take that with a grain of salt, because when you sit down to talk with these entities, you may find out even the myths themselves painted them in a drastically different light. And part of that is the gods are still growing. They're still changing. They're not absolute perfection. They're not locked into place. So a myth about Odin had a different perspective on the world when that myth was written as opposed to today. Now, you're not going to completely get a tiger to change his stripes, but there will be a variant between the time frames. Hope that helps a little bit. Why not? Well, I'll tell you right now, one of the big things me and Rob get to, Raw is all about to kneel down and worship me like I am the God of everything. Okay, cool. You're full of yourself. You think you're the cock of the walk. I got it. My knee bends for no one. I worship no one. Even the entities I work with, I will not bend a knee and worship anyone or anything. And he chooses not to respect that concept. So I choose not to respect him. And then we end up like two dogs fighting in the yard. So that's a thing. That happens. But yeah, his egotistical, you must worship me or else attitude just don't fly with me. Any entity that takes that attitude, I won't work with them. Well, in fact, anytime I meet a new entity when we're in talks, that's one of the things I bring up when it comes to whether or not we're going to work together. I make sure they're aware I will not worship. And Jade's throwing clocks at me. Is it that time? It is that time, Jade. Okay. I'm going to grab this one real quick here. Was Odin a mortal man? There is no proof that Odin was a mortal man. There is some theories that Odin was at one point mortal and ascended. But at the same time, if you read the Poetic Eddas, at no point in there was during the creation myth and the Volspa and everything, you do not see that. So it is unclear. And Odin himself will never answer that question in a direct sentence. Odin tends not to answer questions directly anyways. He's a god of wisdom, not a god of, here, let me just hand it to you. Odin very much believes all knowledge is earned. So you got to take that into account. All right, people, Jade has already thrown clocks at me, as you all probably saw. This has been a lot of fun, y'all. It was really great. Any of y'all, if you do work with Raw, I hope you're enjoying it. Me and him don't get along. No judgments on those who do work with Raw. I told you, it's me. I just can't mesh with him. That's just the way that stuff goes. No, don't deny me my clocks. Jade. Oh, Lordy. If you can, let me know. So we are going to be finishing the Havamal. I do have to give you my announcements here, people. So we are going to be finishing the Havamal. If there's any other books similar like it, we are looking at doing the Volspa also, or any other myths that we could look into and consider for Roundtable. Let me know. Put that in a message below the comments in some of the videos. Now, the next thing I want to tell you is coming toward the end of this year or the beginning of next year. Me and my family's going to have to relocate. Now, the channel will continue to run. Live streams might get sketchy. You know how on the road goes. No, I will not give exact dates on here for many reasons. And no, I don't plan to give locations either for many reasons. But I am going to make sure there's a good backlog of videos and everything, so you guys do still get some videos. And the admin are going to attempt to do a few live streams for me as well. I do not have an exact date during the travel, though. During the actual travel, I am going to attempt to do some shorts and share, some scenery with you as I travel, let y'all know I'm okay, those kinds of things. But the channel will keep going as is. So during the transition, because, you got that whole period where you got to get your place, you got to get your internet set up. I will only ask that if for some reason things take longer than I expect and the backlog's not big enough, show some patience. I'll do the best I can, even if I have to go to a McDonald's and hijack their internet just to do a short 5-minute live stream style video or something. I will do my best. This is the first time we've had to do a major move since we started the channel. As many of you know, I was teaching, then we moved. Everything I built disappeared because it was a physical location. That's when the wife suggested I try more of an internet-based, which I'm glad she did. I've been able to help so many more people. But this is the first move since that transition, so there's a lot of unknown factors that I'm trying to plan for. So when the time comes, I will let you all know, but do bear with me, be patient, and I do assure you, I will be back. I will be back. So my first priority is to get the place, get the internet set up, so I can at least get back to you all and back to recording as much as possible. I'm already considering some new office ideals too, so we might even be able to play around with that. But yeah, I wanted to let y'all know about that ahead of time. But we've got a few months. We've got a few months to deal with that, which is why I'm working so hard and so much right now, because I'm trying to finish things up before that. So I'm not going to start any new projects. I'm finishing up everything I got going, not starting anything new until after that. So yeah, that's the big thing. So Jade, there you go. I spent 4 minutes over. Your clocks were not wasted. Everyone, it has been a blast. You guys have asked some great questions tonight. I've had a lot of fun. Thank you for joining me for some coffee this evening. If you are interested in crystals, make sure you check out Jade's workshop. I got to take a peek at it. It's great. I'm really proud of her for that. So definitely support her and learn some stuff. Y'all know I don't talk too much about crystals, so this is a really good opportunity. We do have a lot more content. I am going, like I said, trying to get more videos. But yeah, other than that, make sure you hit the like button if you haven't and you're here. Subscribe. We always could use the subscribers. And if you do want to support the channel, there's a button somewhere around there about memberships. Click that. Different tiers, different perks. including spell working that you get monthly. All right, everyone, I am going to get back to work. I'm going to finish some coffee, go bug the wife, and try and get some sleep. I got a busy week. Y'all take care. Good night and have a wonderful week. Bye-bye.